Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about single sign-on using OAUTH2. Before we jump on problem statement, I want to give you some overview context about what is the use of using OAUTH2 for a sign-on. So let's assume you have a web application with two or more tiers like UI, APIs, and database and backend integrations. Would need to authenticate your user accessing the application via browser or maybe via system integrations, right? So the common authentication here will be using as, especially on the front end, will be using a single sign-on using one of your corporate authentication IDP providers, or if you are social platforms, for example, your used systems, you might have seen login within a Google or login within a Facebook or Twitter or maybe a GitHub, LinkedIn, right? So that's where it's going to play a major role. So you don't need to create entire brand new user ID passwords. You log in what you remember your user ID, either with using your Gmail accounts or Facebook accounts or Twitter accounts. So there are two major methodologies used during a single sign-on. One of them is in SAML and the other one is in OAuth2. So both these approaches gives you same job, single sign-on to your web application, but there are a few changes, a few things it's going to be, right? So today we focus only on OAuth2, and later on I'll talk about SAML, what is the value added you're getting there. Okay. So the main actions for applications, especially handling implementing OAuth2, is two major stuff I see myself here. One is an get an action token, the other one as an use an action token. I'm going to talk about that. So that's an overview. So now let's coming to the problem statement. On a call out is, as I said, why do you use a OAuth2, especially you want to use it for application authentication using one of your existing user ID passwords within IDP providers like a Facebook and OAuth. So the solution, what we are going to talk about is granting client credentials and access token and a refresh tokens. I'll show you how we're going to do that, especially within architecture, high-level architecture diagram. Then I'll jump on a little bit sequence diagrams. So you'll get more clear picture of understanding. Okay, so if you see here, there is a high-level architecture diagram where your user, or you can call this the browser, where the user is logging into a browser, and then you have an application here, the front-end application that you built with an HTML5, or you deployed on Nginx or Apache HTTP-D, or you might have deployed in IIS. Right? Uh, what are the program language you use to build it? It doesn't matter here for right now. So when you call this a request a resource, for example, in terms of here, let's call a day1.dev is a website. You call that website and it will redirect to your IDP. The browser is pushed back to authentication, especially to your IDP provider. Then you get authenticated, which you might have seen when you logged into a Gmail or LinkedIn. You might have asked you to enter user ID password if your browser is not authenticated. You enter user ID password, then you will submit it, then it will go back to your application. Okay, so that's where it's getting in. So the system also holds a temporary token. The temporary token has been, the application has to call again to a, generally depends on IDP provider. Some people, they keep that token validity for 5 minutes. Few people keep it for 20 minutes. So later on, the OAuth token can be used for calling your backend services like a microservices or other system integrations. But as of now, we're going to focus on this high-level architecture diagram only for SSO auth. Now, coming to the sequence diagram, you can see here I have three actors. One is a browser / a user, and I have a front-end application which is deployed, and IDP providers like a Facebook, LinkedIn, or a GitHub. Okay. So from a browser, you hit your website, which is a as I was calling out day1.dev, you hit that, you get a pages loaded here. Then once you get the pages, just remember this URL, what are I called here, authentication/OAuth2. It doesn't need to be the same thing. It varies from a provider to provider, their URLs. Look at their API documentation. And as part of your parameters, you're going to call out your response type, code, and redirect URLs where it has to come back. And then you get login form. Sometimes if your cookies has everything information, it's not going to ask you. It will directly jump on the system. That means it will go back and it'll directly post a URL information. So once you get back, you get a redirect URL where the system has to be given back, where you get an access token. You use that access token, call your application, that will post again with a code and authorization. It will give you back a response as a JWT. So once you get the JWT token, that's where your front end, you create your session and you successfully load your welcome page. Once you load a welcome page, you can use that JWT token to call your backends or any other integrations you want to do it. You're going to pass that JWT token. That JWT token has more details, the expiry signature, especially it has a 3 header, body, and a footer. The footer is where you create signatures. Okay. Now, you have to follow certain specifications to go through that, what kind of standards you're following it. So I listed out here a couple of OAuth2 W3 standards where you're going to provide all these RFCs. Being an architect, I always give a citation based on a spec, what has been provided. So these are the one of our specs you see here, RFC 7662, and I did provided the URLs for them. And if you're not clear, I used a few terms like authorization code. If you're not clear, just go here for grant types, and you can see there are a few grant types are available, authorization code, implicit, and all the stuff. So I'm going to open one of our spec here. So you can see this as part of our authorization framework. And if you look at here, just go to this is a specification. Any providers has going to do this. So there are enterprise grade providers such as Ping, Okta, Watchdog. There are a lot of providers, other providers are available. But based on my experience, I've seen Okta, Ping, Watchdog a lot. I used it in my previous workplaces. So I'm just calling out the 3, but there might be a lot other stuff. All right, if you have any questions, please give me a feedback on Google form, which I already provided. And if you want to see some new reference pattern, just give me that form, just fill it up, and I'll be happy to come back and give you that details about the architecture part. All right, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.